Hello today. Today I want to talk about the basic problem of life. The basic thing that we should have all understood early on in life, like ABC 1 2 3. Uh, the idea that not the idea, just the fact of who am I? Mm, mm. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where, you know, who am I? Where did I come from? What am I? Those kind of questions. Now, now, first of all, to ask who I am. Who am I? Who? What is a who? What do you mean by who? What kind of question is that? Who am I? And then furthermore, where did I come from? Where? What do you mean where did you come from? Where did you originate? Where? How am I here? Tell me how. How could you ever tell someone how? How? Tell me what how means. Where did I come from? Who am I? What am I? How am I? All meaningless questions. What do you mean? What do you mean? Who am I? What am I? But we're gonna go on that presupposition and talk about who we are, because that's the thing we should have known before we learned the alphabet. Is who we are, and that's what I'm gonna do when I get enough money. I'm gonna restructure education so that every person who goes through my school will fully, um, well, nothing will be forced, but hopefully will come to the understanding early on in life that they are the eternal self. They are the infinite source, the infinite whatever, the Christ. Everybody is the Christ by virtue of existing itself. how could you um how could you not be the Christ? Let me ask you that. How, could you ever not be the Christ? I'm not gonna ask you how. Could you ever say how? Could you ever not be the Christ? Think about that while I play with my hair. I like my hair like I just jumped out of the pool. I did a few laps. So I do laps like up and down the pool. There's my pool, not my pool, but my parents' pool. I do. I started off with 10 up and down, up and back, and then I worked my way up to 12, and then today was 14. It was exhausting. But when I jump out of the pool, and I jumped, my hair looks like this. And I like how it's like individually stranded. It's because I don't put shampoo in my hair. I don't shampoo my hair. I don't condition my hair. I do nothing with it except for wash it in water, and then brush it. I don't have a brush right now, sadly, but I brush it with water. Yeah, so I don't do anything to it. And then the oils and the grease in the hair keep it curly and looking nice. Whereas if I shampooed it, whenever I shampoo my hair, the chemicals in the shampoo make it frizzy and it doesn't look like this. And this looks better. All right, so I asked you the question. I gave you time to think about it. How could you ever not be the Christ? Could you ever be anything besides the Christ? Is there anything besides the Christ? What do you mean by the Christ? By by what exists. What we say when we refer to the Christ is consciousness in its Christ form. The God is everything, right? God is the world. Yeah, so God is this. God is me. God is this. God is everything, and the world is God, and you're not separate from that world. Now, when we say that, God, why am I trying to convince you about this? That you're the Christ? Should I even should I even try to convince you? Maybe we should just like, as a part of education, just rerun the facts. Just rerun the facts of what are, and restate. Yeah, the, you are the one. You are the one. I am the one. Sorry, I'm not going to say you. I am the one. I'm the one. Right, that's a correct statement. Right? No, no, that's not correct. We're all the one of our own life. Get it? So, so who's living your life? It's you. You're the main character of your own life. No one else could be. Yeah. How? I think. So what I figured with narcissists is I've dealt with so many of them, especially growing up, uh, and it's like those kind of people are afraid that they're going to lose their main character spot in their life. So they see someone else who is living truly in their main character spot, truly in here and in here, and they want to take that person down because that person's a threat, seemingly, to their main character spot in their own life. They think that they could possibly not become the main character of their own life, and then other people like to be the side character or like to try to be the side character, but it's like both are futile. One is a victim mentality where like I can't do anything about it. I don't want to be the main character. I don't want to be the center of attention. And then one's like I need to retain my main character spot because I might lose it. I need to make everybody make it about me. I need to make everybody make it about me. So basically, a narcissist steals people's souls and makes their own life about the narcissist. So the narcissist wants to make other people's main character them because they really don't feel like they're the main character of the story. Both. I want to be. You think you're the side character. You're trying to be the side character of your own story, or you're trying to be the main character. You try. You try to be the main character. You try to be the side character. You try. How could you? How could you do it? How could you be what you are? Be what. Produce yourself. Be you. Find yourself. Be you. You can never become God. You can never become God. But the same thing is true. You can never not become God. You can never become something besides God. You can never become something besides the main character, nor could you become the main character. Why? Because you already are the main character the entire time. And people who are healthy, I'm getting there, realize that and know that they are the main character of their own story. Always and forever. You can never not be the main character. So the Christ thing is that like if you've taken psychedelics and you had the total oblivion of the ego, you go back to the point in your consciousness where it's the original point, where it's like the fresh point from which you come. That's the Christ state, where it's just you, because in reality it's just you. So the universe, singular verse, universe. It's one thing, but really it's nothing, because if there's one thing, then there's no thing. Because to have a thing, you need two, right? This is the thing. A thing is really a thought. This is the thing in comparison to this. I mean, we call this a thing because it helps us think about it. Thing and think is the same thing. When you think about something, you thing it. But if you don't think about anything, then everything is one, or no thing. Nothing is no thing, because it's no thing, because you don't think about it. But when you think about things and label ball, you put labels and thoughts on things, then you create things in your head. Just the ideas of things, just the ideas of what is. It's like it's like Alan Watts. Alan Watts once said, a chicken doesn't come cut up. You got to cut up the chicken first. The world doesn't come thingified. It comes as its own. It comes as no thing, nothing. If it's one, it's none. Because if it's there's nothing outside of it. There's no boundary to the one, right? That means that there's no thing. There's nothing. It's nothing. It's infinite. It's nothing. It's such a paradox. It's not a paradox at all. Listen, like, if there's one, there's none. And when you so when you realize that you are the universe. So it's like Jesus Christ came down to earth to with all like the dummies. Like there was a movie where someone came from the past, in the past, like this present time, where we're smarter, and then he went to the future and everybody's dumb, and he's like, hey everybody, like we don't have to, like the obvious fact is this. They're like, what? Like Jesus was like someone who's sane, comes down to like an insane world and tells everybody, hey, you're obviously the Christ. Everybody's like, no, ah! And they don't get it. It's crazy, right? But it's just the fact that you are the universe. What else would you be? Oh my god, I'm gonna throw up because I'm having so many confirmation burps. What else would you be if you were not the universe? Yeah. If you weren't God, if I wasn't God, then what would I be? What would I be if I wasn't God? Hopefully nothing, because being nothing is the best. Being nothing is nirvana. Nirvana. Ni negative vana. Vana prashta. Vana meaning probably identity. Vana. I'll look at what vana means. But nirvana means no. Negative term. So what else though? So you're the Christ. I'm the Christ. Sorry. I'm the Christ. I can only say that about me. Actually, no. I'm sorry. I've been thinking maybe I should say it like I'm the Christ, and that because I'm living my life. Like I can't say that you're the main character in my life, right? So I'm the main character in my life. But of your life, you're the main character. Like, because in my life, so for you, you would say you're the main character. You would say I am the main character, not me, but you would say you are, because you are the main character of your own story. No one else could be. How could anybody else be? And when they say you're the one, Neo, Neo is one, the word one, but like they put the N at the beginning. So you're the one. What do you mean the one? What do you mean I'm the one? I am the one. I am the one. I am the one. The one consciousness. That's what it means. The one consciousness. There's only one consciousness. Are you experiencing anybody else's consciousness? So this now we're going beyond logic. So leave your logic at the door. I just put on the glasses. All right. What other consciousness? I'm talking to myself right now. I'm not talking to you. What other consciousness am I experiencing right now? Are you experiencing? I talk to myself and I call me you. What other consciousness are you experiencing right now? What is the only consciousness right now? What is the only experience right now? The only experience going on right now is mine. See, this is the point at which this is the breaking point where I could step through, but I'm usually so afraid to do it. I'm the only one. I what other what other variable is there to take into account? This is the only consciousness. This is the only experience. Get it? You get it. Right now, the only experience is this experience. The only experience in the entire universe is this experience. And this is true. It's just fact. It's like, it's not anything esoteric to look into and think about. You don't think about it. What is literally the only experience going on right now? Literally. And I'm trying to convince myself what is literally the only experience right now? This is the one. This is the one. And no other experience is going on. Have I ever experienced anybody else's experience? How do I know they're actually experienced? Well, I know. Intuition. Other people exist. Yeah. But in my life, in my experience, forever and ever, eternity, I will be with myself. This is the only experience. The only one. This is the Christ. So I like to tell myself and rub my ego and say, I'm the Christ. I'm the Christ. But everybody's the Christ. So that means I have no ego. Because an ego is a comparison tool, is a mind trick, is a Lucifer trick. It's a lie. The devil is a lie. Oh, this is my dog. Not my dog, but my parents' dog. Oh, there it is. There she is, sorry. See, I'm not experiencing her experience. Someone might be snooping. I'm gonna close the door. So, yeah. So I created Lucifer as a trick, as the challenge in this life. So we're like in elementary school right now. We're all babies, except for the really wise ones, who saw through it and discovered that they're the one. And you've known it the entire time because have you ever not been the one? Have you ever been two? Really, we're all schizophrenic because we have the mind and then us. We see through the filter of the mind. So then we got the mind's image of us that we identify with, but we also have us that identifies with the image. So we have two selves, really. So everybody's really schizophrenic. And it's really the really bad ones that demonstrate that are honest actually about their inner craziness. The ones who are dishonest about their inner craziness are the ones who we call normal. But the ones who are honest and who, I guess, like really struggle with Lucifer are the schizophrenics. And then we misdiagnose people who have like psychic experiences and say crazy things like they're the Christ are called schizophrenic, misdiagnosed. But the real schizophrenics are the ones who identify with their image in their mind, the image of them in the mind, which it doesn't exist. That means you don't exist. What you think of as you doesn't exist. So, and then it's the consciousness, which is you, that thinks about itself. And when you think about yourself over your life, you form because everybody, the goal of the self is to figure out what it is. Who am I? What am I? Figure myself out, learn about myself. So we get tricked by our parents' love into becoming egocentric and forming and learning over time. This is what I am in the mind. Ha! This is what I am, and I like me. But it's only a thought. It's a thought. It's a thought. There's nothing else to say. It's a thought based on the experiences you've had in your life. And so you don't exist. There's no solidified self that moves through a solidified world or a changing world. There's no solidified self. It's only the idea of it. It's only the thought of it. And see, this is it's like, ooh, I know all this to be true. It's just like I know how much my life would change if I like knew it in my conscious mind, like knew it and like felt it, like knew that like what I think I am doesn't exist. It's just been my logic to think that I exist, to think that there is a me that exists. It's like Buddhists say, you have no self, anyata, or ana atman. You have no self, and then there is nothing. It seems how did they ever come to that conclusion? That's I don't know. What a dangerous doctrine. It must be it must be some mystical thing that we will someday figure out. Will someday become apparent to us, but is I have no self and there is nothing. Why are you so pessimistic? Why are you so negative? The universe is meaningless. Are you a nihilist? If you say that, you just don't get it. And you can get it by understanding that it's like everything is neutral. It's not a negative or a positive statement, but it's a neutral statement that literally state in the facts that anyone can understand this, that you have no self. You have no self. Do I have a self? There is no self. So, only because of many reasons, but because what you think of as you, what you literally think of as you, what you call your ego, is a thought. And are you a thought? Are you anything? I mean, your body is constantly changing. Every 7 years, all your cells replace themselves. Every 7 years. So, are you the same person you were 7 years ago? Are you the same? Are you ever the same person? It's only the idea that you're the same person, keeping up the tradition, keeping up the history. That's why in school, it's like stop focusing on the history and upholding the tradition, because that's what we mentally learn to do. Is let's uphold the tradition of our established self, of our inner establishment. Let's uphold the tradition. But you're really fooling yourself because you're just following a thought. And a thought, you're literally not a thought. So you don't exist. Think of yourself. Think of yourself. You thought of yourself? Yeah, you got that feeling, that muscular strain? That doesn't exist. Good news. If you don't like it, it doesn't exist. Good news. The gospel. It doesn't exist. The you think you are. Of course it doesn't. So the Buddhists have meditated and become so sane and in such a sane environment. We're in an insane environment because we're basically in a corporation. We're living in a mall. and that's what the United States corporation is. With our birth certificate, it's our receipt. It's our baby receipt. That's what. So we're living in a corporation. It's a crazy world. And they educate us to go crazy. And so I'll get to the nothing piece. I'll get to the nothing part. But the thing with Lucifer is that it's the impossible problem that he proposes to you. that he gives to you. The impossible, the double binds, the things you can never solve, that you can never figure out. Yeah. So it's like, can you uphold the temptation? I'm not uphold. Can you uphold your integrity in order to avoid the temptation to try to solve, try to figure out what Lucifer is giving you, the mind? Because if you have an incorrect thought in your mind, how could you ever solve that incorrect thought on the basis of the same incorrect mind that created it? You'll just go in circles. So people go in circles because they try to figure out problems that can never be figured out. Problems based on illusion. It's like, could you ever grasp at smoke and have it in your hand? Like, regularly, could a regular person take smoke and grasp it in their hand and have it? You know, you're grasping at smoke. It's illusion. So Lucifer is illusion. Lies. Illusion. So figure out illusion. A wise person would say, what is there to figure out? What? This is a trick. Why would you tell me to figure this out? You can't figure it out. Just like be yourself. How could I be myself? How could I produce myself? Be myself. Be you. Be Boston University. Be you. Be yourself. How could you ever be yourself? Be me. Do I even know me? What is the me to know? Can I ever be an object of my own knowledge? Could I ever see my own face? Think about it. Could you ever see your own face? No. You can never see your own face. Except, of course, right now I'm looking at my computer screen and I'm just enjoying my form, my physical form that I created. Yeah, really enjoying it. But I could never actually physically see my own face because my eyes ever see themselves. So the Godhead, they say, the Godhead could never be an object of its own knowledge because you could never know yourself. How could you know yourself? It's the same thing as how could your eyes see themselves? Could a knife cut itself? Right? So you could never know yourself, and any idea of you knowing yourself is Lucifer, is the devil. because it's an illusion. It's a thought about your behaviors in the past, and you have created an illusion of you based on the behaviors and actions in the past. And then therefore, oh, this is me, because everybody's trying to figure out, the whole thing of the self is to figure out what it is. So humans are made in the image of God, and they're all trying to figure out themselves. So they're all trying to figure out what they are. And so the temptation is to create the illusion. So resist the temptation to figure out to figure out an illusion. Insoluble problem. Know yourself. How could I know myself? I know myself by unknowing myself. Could you ever... So nothingness. Nothingness is not like blackness. Death. Let's talk about death. Why is everybody so afraid of death? If death is really nothingness, then what is there to be afraid of? God. Death. Imagine falling asleep and never waking up. Right now. Let's experiment together. I hope... okay, let me just muster the courage to actually experiment this with you. Imagine falling asleep and never waking up. It's like suddenly I'm thrust into a black void. Imagine falling asleep and never waking up. Well, it would be the same thing as before I was born, so it is. But how would I be used to it? Because there's no me to be used to it. And then when I die, me goes away. Me doesn't exist. So how would there be a me? How would there be a me to experience nothingness? There could never... Imagine falling asleep and never waking up. You wouldn't know. There would be no one to know. There would be no one to know that you didn't wake up. As long as people are afraid of death, they can be ruled. Yeah, look at COVID. The function of government is to get people afraid of death. That's why the government hates mystics, because mystics figure it out that they're that not. Why would you be afraid of nothing? If you don't do what we say, we'll kill you. Oh, the so you get them afraid of death, right? You'll go to hell, or you'll never exist, or you show them dead bodies at funeral parlors. Oh, the dead body, cremate, or graveyards, skeletons, rotting flesh, zombies, spider webs, bugs, maggots. That's death. See, that is death. That's what your mind sees. That's what your unconscious sees. That is death. That is what death is. Rotting bodies in graveyards, underground, in a box, never waking up. No action. What is it called when you put like glue into a body to preserve it? I forget, but that's what death is. It's graveyards and dead bodies and disgusting things, right? That's what your mind sees. So your unconscious mind, if you're not conscious, then your unconscious mind will see that's what death is. And then when you think of death, you'll think that's a terrible prospect. That's absolutely disgusting. Because you have seen in the past that death is dead bodies and graveyards and disgusting things. But that's not your death. That's the death of an organism. That's dead leaves, right? It's the same thing as a dead leaf. But what have they experienced? The person who has died. That's not what they experience, because they're not there to experience it. They're not in the dead body still to experience being a dead body. They're not experiencing the maggots eating them and the flies, and they don't know what it's like to be underground if they're actually dead. But no, seriously, if you've already died, how would you experience being in a funeral parlor? And so they get us afraid of death. And like, I remember there was a scene in a Superman movie where there was a girl who was stuck in a morgue, one of those like morgue cabinets. She was just in there. I don't know why. She was just in there and she was still alive. And Superman had to come and grab her. And that really scared me out of death. Like, oh, I don't want to die. Dead bodies, I don't want to die. But you don't experience being a dead body. So, and then they say you could go to hell. You could be a ghost. Think of ghosts. Spooky. So death, the image is more convincing than anything else in persuading someone. It's the image of death, right? It's not death itself. Death is actually very beautiful because what is it? It's release. It's the release of yourself into nothingness. There would be no one in nothingness to experience nothingness. That's freedom. You let go of yourself. It's the ultimate orgasm. Like the French say, the sexual orgasm is the little death, and then the big orgasm is death. Death is the big orgasm. It's a big release of self. You're dead into nothingness. Dead. How about not even passing away? Passing away. We think death is such a horrible thing. So the governments, as long as they can make them afraid of death, then they say, if you don't do what we say, we'll kill you. Or if you don't do what we say, you'll be killed, or you could die. Be safe. Our number one priority in airports, especially, is safety, security. Make sure we're all safe. Keep us safe. Why do we have to be safe? Our ancestors were much more happy when they were not protected all the time. we need to surveil you to make sure you're safe. So that's how they control you, because they make you afraid of dying. In education does it subliminally, and so does all the TV programs and all the movies, and your parents, and just the culture we live in makes you afraid of death for no reason. It's just you observe the after effects of after someone has died, and you think that is death, because technically that is death. The after effects of what has happened to someone is death. That is death. But it's not what you experience. It's not your death. It's not. Do you know what that person experienced when they died? No. So how could you be afraid of that? How could you be afraid of nothingness? Imagine death as nothingness. Death as being what's behind your eyes. It's not darkness. It's not darkness, because darkness is still an experience. But beyond what you could experience, but nothingness is beyond what you could experience, because it's no experience. It's a non-experience. If you want to find nothingness, imagine the only place you could find nothingness is behind your eyes. Death, imagine, death is what it's like behind your eyes. When you die, you'll experience what you experience right now behind your eyes. Nothingness. It's not going to be like darkness, because darkness is an experience of someone. But if there's no one to experience, then a blind person doesn't even know darkness. So death is not to be feared. If you really go all the way, I'm talking to myself here, not you. I have issues. I'm just so afraid. I'm just so afraid to take the leap of faith. And, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for Jesus Christ, I would just be spinning in circles. But Jesus Christ is my Savior. And I just call on his name, and he gently leads me. The time on the clock was 37:33. And then the time right at that point in time was 11:22. Ooh. Jesus Christ. Oh, now it's 44. Jesus Christ. If you're having trouble with Lucifer, then you just drop it and just focus on Jesus Christ. Focus on the Lord. Jesus Christ is with you. You give your life into Jesus Christ, and you don't have to do anything else. But you got to give him permission. Because if you don't give him permission, then he can't do anything. Because obviously they can't interfere with your free will. But you give Jesus permission, and he'll take over your life, and your life will be beautiful. So Jesus. And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I fall back into Lucifer. So I gotta into illusion, ego. So I gotta remember Jesus, 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 Jesus has my life in his hands, and I don't have to do a thing about it. But where were we? All right, we're talking about death here. If you really go all the way, and imagine you vanish forever. Imagine you vanish forever! Could you ever? You can't imagine. That's beyond your imagination. Beyond anything you could imagine is vanishing forever. Vanish forever. You cannot look for the origin of form in form. Could you? You cannot look for the origin of form in form. So the origin of form has to be an empty space. There needs nothing in order for there to be something. How could you have anything if there's no space to contain it? So you need the nothingness in order for there to be something. Something is birthed out of nothingness. Something cannot be birthed out of something. That'd be like too much. Like, imagine if there's just something. Everything was just solid. There would be no play. But you need empty space. You need nothingness in order for something to incarnate. I am the Christ incarnate. So yeah, so you need nothingness. Nothingness is the basis of everything. How how could it be any other way? Nothingness, yeah, yeah. It's just, we don't talk about this kind of stuff, but it's like obvious. Like you need a white paper in order to draw. If it was all black, then you'd never be able to see what you're drawing. But if it's a white paper and then you add the feminine, or no, you add the masculine. The feminine is the emptiness, and the masculine is the form. You need the emptiness in order for there to be any form. So you can see the difference between me in this shirt, me in that house. You need nothingness to be creative. Everything is nothingness. And so the nothing principle that Buddhism talks about, it's it's like if there's one thing, if there's one universe, then there's no universe. No. Yes, because where is the boundary of this one? If there's only one thing, then there's no boundary to it. There, in order for there to be things, there would need two. But then, even if there is two, there would be there would need to be three. there, because there's two balls, but where are the balls? In space, in the emptiness. So take away one ball, and there's one ball. But the point is that there always needs to be the nothingness, and everything is nothing. Let me remind you, because there needs to be more than one in order to make a thing. But if there's only one, then there's no boundary to that one. So it's no thing, literally no thing, because it's one thing. If there's one thing, then there's no thing. This is a thing in comparison to this. But if there's only this, where is the edge of this? If this was the entire universe and there's nothing besides this, what this is, where would be the boundary to this? How would I know what it is? You only see me because you see other things. You only see my boundary. You only see what I am because I have a boundary and stuff around me. If this, you have to get so close that you wouldn't even see the boundary of this ball. But because I have things around me, because I have an environment, therefore I can exist. But if I have nothing around me, then what am I? Imagine me with no boundary. Imagine me with nothing outside of me. Imagine just me and no white background, no black background, no background at all, just me. And there would be no me in that sense. So in the same way, if there's no thing besides the universe, if there's no thing besides God, then God is emptiness. But you need emptiness. Emptiness is the greatest thing, because you need emptiness in order to incarnate something. So I'm trying to understand this too. I just got to stop understanding it with my head. It takes nothing in order for there to be something. Imagine this. You're so afraid of death. Imagine if life never came to an end. Oh, imagine life going on forever. You would not want that. That'd be a scary prospect. That'd be like, this will never end. You would have to come to the surrender. Eventually you would come to the surrender, and that'd be liberation. But it's like, imagine if this life just never ended. That would not be fun. Death is the mercy. Death is the mercy rule. Yeah, the mercy rule in baseball. If you start losing, by a certain amount, and we just end the game. Death. It's fucking finally it's done. So just imagine, what would you rather have? Life never end, or life have an end? In order for there to be anything, there needs to be an end to it. Unless if it's a thing, but if it's no thing, then there's no thing to begin nor no thing to end. That's why the universe has no beginning nor end. That's why it's infinite, because it's nothing. It's no thing. It's infinite. Only a thing is finite, but it's only a thing if you think about it. But if you don't think about it, it's not a thing, and then therefore it's not no thing, and then it's infinite. So the thing we should all do is realize that we are infinite. That we are infinite and we are nothing. Imagine, this is simple. The space around us, the space that we live in, is air, and air is a substance. It's like water in the ocean, like it's all around you. It connects all the fish, right? There's no little bubble. The skin on my skin doesn't separate me from the air. What would be in the separation? How would it ever be separated? So the air connects me to this tree, to this. So there's really in reality, like actually in reality, it's only a thought that we're separate. It's literally only a thought that we're separate. Because why? Because the air connects us. And that's why everything is one. Because there's in our mind, I could be different than you, and I'm so different than you, and your ego separates us. But in reality, we're actually one. In reality, in our head, we're different because we need the emptiness, we need the space in order to have delineated forms. But in truth, the space still connects us. You just imagine it like this: it's just air. Air is substance. Air, just like the ocean. Every dolphin is connected by the water, by the air. Every human is connected, and by the dark matter in space. Every planet and celestial body is connected, always and forever, because it's one universe. And if it's one, then it's none. That should be my catchphrase. If it's one, it's none. You're always. That's why I said at the beginning, what do you mean by where? Because I'm going to say, you're always at the spot that you're at. Think about that statement for a second while I sip this coffee. You're always at the spot that you're at. It just appears to change. All places are really the same. Why are all places really the same? Why? Do some introspection. Why are all places the same? Because why? They say, everywhere you go, you bring yourself. That's like the dreadful. That can be a dreadful thing or a liberating thing. Everywhere you go, you bring yourself. So you're never really going anywhere. Everything appears to change, but as the French say, the more it changes, the more it stays the same. So in your head, like you're always in your head. You're always with you. You're always in the same space. You're always in the middle. You know what man really means? Man really means the middle position. Human. I don't know what hue means, but man means the middle position. Why? Why is that? Every being, every creature in the universe is always in the middle position. always. Imagine this is the universe. Every being, I'm this being, I'm pointing to me. I'm in the middle. I'm never not in the middle. When would I ever not be in the middle? So everywhere I go, I'm in the same place. I'm in the same spot. So all places are the same, and so it's like you can go on trips and travel and do things that might help you spiritually progress and figure yourself out. It will, traveling and doing stuff. So please get out of the house and get in nature and explore, because the more you explore the universe, the more you explore yourself. But if there is a core issue with illusion that you won't give up, then you bring that with you everywhere you go. I mean, there can be things to distract you from it, but as long as like you're holding on, all you gotta do is let go. You have, how could you figure out an illusion, right? So if you have an illusion that's spinning in your head, you know, like a lot of us do, then all you gotta do is stop spinning. All you gotta do is just let go and stop doing it, and stop giving into the illusion and pretending like it's real. So everywhere you go, literally, if you won't give something up, give up some sort of illusion, like, and you bring yourself. I don't even know where I was saying, but I've been saying some good things. You should write down what I'm saying. So ultimate reality, the Buddhists, so like if you want proof, the Buddhists say ultimate reality is voidness, is shunyata. Voidness. Because literally, it's like, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Just like the you think you are isn't you. It doesn't exist. So you can stop acting like it. The universe, the one universe, is nothing. Is no thing. Because where's the boundary to make it a thing? I'm a thing because I have stuff around me. If I didn't have any boundary around me, then what would I be? You wouldn't be able to tell me. So in order to have a thing, you need. But the universe is infinite, so because it's one, how could it not be infinite? And then in order to have life, you need death. And then what of the nothingness we've experienced before we were born? We came into being. We came in as babies, pretty happy. You know, have we ever wondered why children and babies are so happy? Why they're always so happy? I mean, we came from nothingness. Oh, I love that. We came from nothingness, and look how happy we were as babies. And somehow we're so afraid to return to it. And then we come in as babies and we're happy. And then we start to get tricked by our parents' illusion, because as babies, we're so sensitive, we're so open and vulnerable, that we absorb all of our parents' energy, all of it, their ego, and then we mistake. And then a lot of people can't give you unconditional love. So you get sad because you can't really retrieve that unconditional love from your parents. So when you do things that they approve of and what they like that's going to give a sense of love, but it's a false sense of love. So like the trick was that like you think that the false sense of love is what you want. Like if your dad like wants you to like be good at sports or something, like he gives you that sense of approval, and that because you literally need to survive his love. You literally need love to survive. If you don't have love, then you're dead. So you need your parents' love to survive. And so because they can't give you the unconditional love, the love that they do give you is love out of they care about you and what they think is best, if you are doing what they think is best, then they'll give you a sense of love, and then you'll chase after, and you'll do more of what they think is best for you because you're trying to get their love, because you need their love. But now you don't. Now you're an adult and you can think for yourself, and you can love yourself, and you can see that that was only an illusion growing up, that uh, that our parents could give us unconditional love, but they really couldn't. Not a lot of people are capable of giving even their children unconditional love. It was always conditional. So you became conditioned in order to receive love. But now that you can see that, yeah, I've become conditioned, and I have unconscious motives to get love from my dad by doing unhealthy things, by thinking unhealthy ways. But what you got to realize is that you're never going to receive the unconditional love you seek from them. Never. So it's like, coming to that conclusion that you're never going to receive what you're seeking for, unconsciously or consciously, unless you let go of them, of your parents, then you won't have a good relationship with them unless you let go of them. And then what you let go of comes back to you. It's like we come into this life and we develop egos based on doing things and thinking things in certain ways to receive love from our parents. And then we develop an ego because of our parents, and we soak in their energy, and we become like them. We're like an imprint. Like, when we come into this life, we're like wet clay, and if you imprint that clay with your fist, then it's going to have an imprint of a fist in the clay. But then over time, like, our subconscious begins to dry, and then the imprint stays in the dry clay unless you wet it. And you can wet it using psychedelics and meditation and self-introspection, God, whatever works for you. And you can re-wet the clay and then re-imprint it. But if you have that imprint, it even starts to wet if you become aware that you have the imprint. Like, say, like, there's like some sort of like victim mentality or narcissism that you absorbed from your parents. If you become aware of that, then instantly it starts to go away. But as long as you're not aware of it, then you're not aware of it, and it sticks with you. So just like look back and like understand that as a baby you soaked in their energy, and you held that, and that now that's your unconscious behaviors, and that when you grow up and become like your parents, that's really when you become more sleepy and unconscious for life, because life just sucks as an adult, and you're like, it's much easier just to be half asleep for this, right? It's much easier just to be half asleep because because why would I invest my energy into something that hurts and it just sucks, right? So you become unconscious, and then your unconscious that you're unconscious of becomes your behavior. And what is the unconscious that you're unconscious of? It's your subconscious imprints that you got as a baby, which is the behaviors and energies of your parents. So that's why you become your parents when you become unconscious, because what you're unconscious of comes up to the surface and becomes your behavior. But it's good to know that you have unconscious, that you soaked their energy regardless. You soak their energy regardless. So you observe them and you realize, yeah, I have that within me. So just become aware of it. And that anytime it happens, just be honest with yourself. Be like, yeah, oh, there it is. Yeah, that's them. That's them and me that I soaked in as a baby, because I had to, because I needed the love. So it's like, don't fall asleep for life. Be awake for life, because life is amazing. And imagine that Just imagine that everything is nothing. It gives you all the energy in the world. If you think that there's something, then there's a block in the way. But if you know that there's nothing, then you're free. You're suddenly filled with energy once you realize that there's nothing. And okay, just be yourself. Yes, you can't imagine nothingness. You cannot imagine nothingness. There are infinite ways of avoiding the fact that there's nothing. There's infinite illusions. There's infinite ways of avoiding it, but there's one way of facing it. And the one way of facing it is realizing that there is nothing. And that's liberation. Nirvana. Nirvana. Near negative. Near. It's nothing. Nirvana is the blown out state. You wanna be relaxed? You wanna I can let go. Oh, what a relief. There's nothing to be afraid of. Don't be afraid of nothing. Why would you be afraid of nothing? When they say, don't be afraid of nothing, they're really saying, don't be afraid of everything. So, I think like the two things to take home with you would be that like the you think you are is just a habit of thought. It's just a structure of thought that you've developed and taken on by close influences in your life. And that there is nothing. There's literally nothing. Why? Because if there's one, then there's none. And also you absorbed your parents' energy. And so that's that as a baby. So it's part of you. It's part of your thought processes. It's part of your anxiety. It's part of the way you deal with life. It's just the way it is, you know? So 3 things to take home with you. All right. Well, anything else before I tune off today? I already said we live in a corporate government. We live in a corporate world government that's already like established, except there are some parts that are out of control. And what they want to do is they want to get everything under centralized control. So there's no like differences between countries, you know, so that they can't really control. That's too many variables. What they want to do is reduce the population and reduce us, make us dumber, and reduce our language so that we have limited thought. And this is all what they're trying to do, is reduce our language and establish a one world government. But right now, today, and since for the past like 2,000 years, we've been, or longer than that, a few thousand years, we've been working for people in charge. We've been working for them, and they change our perception of reality. So the perception of reality that you're used to, that you're thinking through right now, is the perception of reality that they programmed into you so that they could have you work for them. Yeah, and be their slave. And I got paid with these dollar bills. That means I'm not a slave. I'm a slave to the money. You know, what else is my life besides doing work for someone else? Unless you're rich. So this is all a business, right? It's all business, and the people who run us are really mafia. They're serious about some shit, and they don't like people like me, who would just talk about what is. They really don't like it because it's talking about the truth, and if people know the great truth, and they see through the veil and they snap out of it, then they can't be ruled anymore. and they won't put up with it. So, but the majority of people are putting up with it, and we live in these like containment shelters called houses, and like our towns, like our lives are basically just like sleeping and like, and then like going into town and like spending money and getting money and then coming back and then doing it over again. Unless you're trying to learn, I would say just like let go of the idea of God, because what they wanted to do was make the idea of God seem unattractive with the Christian church. But it's really very attractive. It's where you come from. God is your nature. God is sexual. God is cool. God is really cool. God is funny. God is not anything like this, like the way the Bible is translated would make it seem. All right. So, and then another thing is I'm gonna give you some homework. Look into this. Look into one world government, corporate government, and look into who controls the world. And just listen with an open mind. The goal is to keep people from creating their ultimate realities. You create your reality because you are your reality. Keep people from raising their vibration to elevate into a higher order of reality. They do this by making it appear that reality itself is not something to be marveled at, then make us afraid using psychological warfare, confuse us from the beginning, and encourage us to attempt to fill the void instead with food or shopping or illusions. Imagine don't imagine this. Just know this to be a fact. Everything you experience is in your head. Everything you experience is in your head. What you're experiencing right now is your brain. What I'm experiencing right now is my brain. Is literally in my head. Everything, the outside world, I can only experience what's in my head. I can never experience the outside world. Do I not sound convincing enough for you? Is this not true? It's not to make a point, it's not to prove a point, or it's not to show you something. But it's rather just like just know it to be true. Like, all you experience are signals in your brain. All you experience is in your head. All I experience is in my head. In terms of what? See, that's a hard thing to... You need to get high before you think about that. In a sober state, it's hard, but all you experience is in your head, literally and forever. You never experience the actual outside world. But all you experience is the internal world. The signals in your brain. It's all you ever experience. All right, so here's the truth about reality, and then I'm gonna get off. We come from ourselves. I am the ultimate state. I am the only one. God is my higher self, which knows all and is all, and has my best ideas and intentions in mind. I am in the mind of God. The mind of God is me. I am the mind of God. I create everything because everything is me. How is that so? Everything is me. I have jumped into life, sparked into being, split from unity in order to get lost, and then find again. Existing in itself is so great, being nothing, being the only thing, is so great that the game is to forget the fact and then remember again. And remembering again is the biggest surprise, is the best. It's the best thing. The best thing is remembering that you are you. Is remembering just the facts. That's why you go into life and forget, and then go through years and years and years of like torment and pleasure and pain and whatever and confusion, and then you suddenly discover, whoa, I am the one. The best thing is remembering that you are you, because you are the only reality. It's a divine comedy to live because you identify with form, feel fearful, and then get back to what you are, which is the infinite. So it's like the infinite is pretending like it's all these different forms and people with such intensity that it seems that it's not intense. Everything is so intense. Say this is God, right? This is the one universe. It's a one eye. And this eye can see from infinite points of view. Say there's infinite filters, like little filters that it can look through, and it like glasses, and it changes its perception. So I'm one of those filters, and you're one of those filters, and that's all that is, and that's just the way it is. It can't be any different. And when the eye looks through this filter, it sees things differently, and then thinks that it's only this filter. But then it can do spiritual work and then take off the filter and then seek God. And seeking God is seeking yourself. And you seek God, and then you take off the filters, and then you start to know, okay, yeah, this is what I am. This is it. This is just the way it is. And then you realize that you are the only one. That's why you're the Christ. That's going to be my heresy. It's going to be that everybody is the Christ, because that's literally that I am the Christ, and you are the Christ, and we're all the Christ, because we all are the Christ. What else could we be if not the Christ? We couldn't be anything else. That's what Jesus came here to say. He said, everybody, we're the Christ. And then the Romans said, oh, shut this guy up, because they want to control people. Because imagine everybody knows they're the Christ. They wouldn't give a damn about anything, because they would not be afraid of death. They wouldn't be afraid of death. If you are the only thing that exists, what do you have to be afraid of? If you're nothing and you're the only, and you're just the only nothing, then what do you have to be afraid of? Forever, infinitely, you're the Christ. And you're pretending like you're not. That's why it's the divine comedy. We go to hell and purgatory and heaven, and we play all these different roles, but the whole time we don't even know that we're the Christ. So the whole thing to save humanity from its own destruction is to realize that we all have been the Christ the entire time. That's the only way that we'll ever have sanity. Because we've gone too far in this game. Oh, is that a sign for me to stop talking? And remember this before I sign off. Whatever illusion you have passed onto someone else, you will pass on to yourself if you are unaware of the fact that it is an illusion. So if you pass an illusion onto someone else and pretend like they are something, any sort of illusion, and you can tell it's an illusion if it's negative and it makes you feel powerful by putting someone else down. You can tell that's an illusion if saying something makes you. So whatever illusion you pass on to someone else, you will pass on to yourself, as long as you think that the illusion, as long as you believe in the illusion. And all illusion is Lucifer. It's the devil. See? So that you created the devil so that you could test yourself. And basically we're in elementary school to get past like believing in what illusion, not seeing through illusion and just not seeing the truth. So we need to be able to see past negativity and see past illusion in order to pass the school that we're in, which is Earth, and then move on to high school, or to middle school actually, or to maybe we're probably in kindergarten, and then that's literally it. So thanks for watching my video. Here, does my dog have anything to say? Okay, bye.